I'm just wondering if you stress or talk about how important it is, especially in this league, not to let one loss become two. I mean, is that something that you, or the things you do, or?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I haven't seen our team yet. You know, we took yesterday off, obviously, so I haven't seen the team yet. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. You know, that's a common statement that you would say, you know, at any point in time. Don't let one become two or two become three. But in this league, it's going to be easily done. The team that probably doesn't lose back to back will probably be a team that has the, you know, maybe the best chance of winning if anybody's able to do that. So I'm not sure anybody will be able to do that. So, but yeah, that's certainly an emphasis.
I'm curious with Lampkin, in terms of his just size profile, how different of a test do you think this will be for KJ compared to someone like, you know, Osen from Iowa State, or even on Tuesday?
Well, from a standing height standpoint, you know, obviously we're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. You know, with most big guys we play against, whether it be, you know, K-State or Oklahoma State or OU or, you know, TCU, whoever. But you know, hopefully KJ's athleticism can neutralize that, his quickness, and he's done a good job, with the exception of, you know, foul problems in Manhattan. He's done a good job of basically neutralizing other bigs, in my opinion, with his quickness and athletic ability. But you know, he's very important to us not to get in foul trouble, and certainly that type of size or girth, I'm sure they'll try to play to him, especially early in the game.
And in terms of Kevin, what do you guys like maybe some of the recent struggles from him offensively?
Yeah, you know, Kevin's playing fine. He's just not playing as well shooting the basketball. And I do think sometimes when you don't make shots, it can affect other parts of your game at least a little bit. For the most part, he's done a good job with that. I've talked to Kevin for quite a while today. I love his game. I love what he gives us. I think he's been a terrific addition to our program and our culture. Everything has been a positive. He's not in any jeopardy at all of playing less minutes, things like that. But the bottom line is he needs to become less of a thinker and more of a reactor. And I think sometimes when you go through a little bit of a rough stretch, sometimes you know you can think about making your next one, and as long as you're thinking about it, the chances of it happening are not as great. He's got to forget about everything. You know, Jay Will's a perfect example. Jay Will can't remember one time he missed, and I think Kevin could become a little bit more like that, and I anticipate him becoming more like that.
Can you just give us a soundbite on Miles and Miller from TCU? They're shooting so well against good competition.
Yeah, they played a good schedule, TCU has, and of course everybody in our league will play a good schedule eventually, but certainly they played a nice schedule, and you know the best team by far in transition in our league, by far. I think they're averaging like 24 points a game in transition, which is a ridiculously high number. West Virginia held them to 8 last night, which is a big reason why they won the game. To me, those two, you know, those two statistically are you know, their most productive guys offensively and rebounding the ball. But you can make a case that Ball has been their best player in games. You can make a case O'Bannon. I think O'Bannon leads in block shots. I think you can make a case that he's been their best players at times. You can make a case on Lampton being their best player at times. But Miller and Miles are obviously the two guys, and I would put Ball in there too, that you have to not let them have huge games. And Miller can get his in different ways. You know, Miles going to get it with the ball in his hands. Ball's going to get it, obviously, transition, making athletic plays, you know, defensive length, and Miller can get it, you know, off the glass as well as anybody in our league from an offensive standpoint.
And if you wouldn't mind going back and just a statement about Jalen's game in Manhattan.
Well, he played great. You know, it reminded me a little bit of the Wisconsin game. Maybe it's Wisconsin, where where we had nothing, and basically he just puts us on his back. You know, we played with kind of a makeshift lineup there down the stretch, and you know, basically he just kind of carried us through that. So on a night where Juan wasn't shooting the ball well, so you know, if you take out 3 starters and then Juan's not shooting it well, that just leaves one guy to go to, and he basically carried us. He was great. We should have got the ball to him there at the end. You know, we wanted to, but we didn't, and certainly that was that's something that doesn't need to take place again. But I thought he was great. You know, I called the timeout. Of course, I actually called the timeout before he ever touched it when the ball was in the air. But you know, the official didn't grant it until right before he shot it. But that was unfortunate. I asked Jalen, I said, "You heard me call timeout, that's why you went in and shot it." And he said, "No, I really didn't." So that made me feel even worse. But you know, that could have certainly put a different end on that game. And you know, I take sole responsibility on that. I didn't have anything to do with our guys. But that tells you what type of game that was. At any one play, one moment in that game was going to be the difference in one team winning and one team not. And so I thought he played great. But I also thought we came up short, and he sees it the exact same way I do. That's a game that will be talked about by others, but it won't be talked about by us. And it won't be talked about by him because we didn't do the objective. We didn't come out of there with a W. And I love that attitude about him.
What about Juan's game? Were you okay with everything he did in that game?
I think Juan's got tired, you know. Did you guys see how hard he hit his head on the floor on the replay? It's amazing he didn't get a concussion. Amazing. I thought Juan did some good things. You know, we can talk about, well, he didn't do this, and he missed some wide open shots he's been making. But the guy he guarded had a season low too, if I'm not mistaken. So his value is in so many ways. He had 11 dimes and had a couple of bad turnovers. Large part because we didn't execute very well. But you know, I'll definitely you know, go to the house with him each and every night.
Are you okay with the minutes distribution of the starters? Any danger of getting tired?
Well, yeah, 45-minute games and guys are playing 45. I think there's a chance they're going to get tired. That's what made Jalen's game even better, because he actually played his best defense in overtime in the last 3 minutes too. So yeah, it's an issue. You know, it'd be nice, you know, if, of course, Joe and you know, when you say go to the bench, I mean, Joe and Bobby had chances to play, and both did some good things. Joe made a couple of hard baskets first half, and they had chances to play, and certainly our bigs, you know, they had chances to play. We just didn't play as well as we had hoped, but you know, that's, you know, you know, I'm not going to make any excuses for them because it's my fault, but we weren't used to having the pieces in the game at the end of the game that were actually in the game, and that's not a knock to our players at all. But okay, Bobby, you're our 3-man. Okay, well, you got to do this or do that. You know, Jalen throws the ball inbounds on every side out. If he doesn't, Kevin does. And you know, you can't throw the ball you can't let Juan throw it in because he's the one who's got to get it back. You can't let Jay Will throw it in case he can't get it back. And so it was just a different deal that hopefully, if we're in that position again, we'll be better prepared for, which I think we will.
How is MJ physically? I know he's had the bad back, and any progress on he and Ernest? How are they doing? Getting better? Whatever.
Yeah, I think, you know, Ernest had his wisdom teeth out last week, and so he was limited some in practice. But I think, you know, they did not get in because of injury, even though MJ's not 100%. You know, he's not 100%. So there's been games this year that MJ's warmed up for, and you know, he's told me at halftime I can't play. So But that's not a reason why we didn't try to put him in. It was just, kinda, he's just not whole. And it'd be nice if we're able to get those guys whole, but to your point, Gary, a lot, if you don't have, a couple of perimeter guys in the game, then Juan and Jalen have to stay in. I mean, let's just call it like it is, and so that's kind of what happened the other night.
Bill, I'm kind of curious, ideal world, how deep would you want the rotation to go? 8 deep, 9 deep, going into March?
Well, last year was 7. Okay, and last year was 7, and J. Cole was our 8th, and maybe KJ got in, KJ was our 9th. And neither one of those guys are playing as much as our bench is now. After the starting 5, but we had 2 rocks off the bench. You had Remy and Mitch. I mean, those make a difference. So if you could get comfortable with, I think 8's a great number. At Illinois, I played 9. The only reason I played 9 at Illinois is because we played 4 big guys, and we told them all to be aggressive, and hopefully 3 of them would get 2 fouls the first half, so you have to set them out so nobody's mad at me at the end of the game because they fouled too much. Well, it's your fault, you got 2 fouls, but that was the only way that we could actually get forward in the game was through foul problems. I actually had an opposing coach tell me one time, he said, God dang, you tell those guys to foul on purpose, don't you? And I said, no, I don't. He said, yeah, you tell them to foul on purpose so you can make them all happy because they know they can't be mad at you because they fouled too much. And so that was the only way we could get them in the game because we had so many bigs. This is obviously different, but 7 would be a nice number with 8 to be a emergency, or a 9 to be emergency type. I should say 8. 8 probably the best number because Joe and 2 guards and then 1 big. That'd probably be the best number. Anybody else?
No. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.